He is staying on wanted street level, especially after what's been going on in Daredevil.
Yes.
Now, they're doing the Registration Act in Daredevil. One thing Daredevil is incredibly succeeding at, whether or not you're loving the show, is I think they really make the presence of New York City feel very much alive. Like, New York is a beautiful city that I absolutely love and want to move to one day. To the New Yorkers out there, we want to move there.
We want to go. We love it.
We would love to move to New York. But anyway, and then within New York, there's a lot of superheroes that are just based out there, and that was part of the fun of the Netflix show. Was like Netflix New York with the Defenders and such. And with the Registration Act happening, the fact that you do officially with this Disney Plus show are making it crystal clear. Daredevil, Kingpin, they're in the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. Kingpin references Spider-Man.
He does.
In the second episode.
Yes.
I don't feel like Kingpin and Daredevil should be in the fourth one. I do think one of the rumors is that they're filming 4 and 5 back to back. I would not be upset if they did do part 5 with Spider-Man and Daredevil. I think that would be pretty cool. Allow Matt Murdock, allow Charlie Cox to have his live action movie, because he only had a cameo in No Way Home, but he could actually be live action Daredevil in the movie. You get to see that brought to life. Like in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, that interaction between him and Daredevil was so fun.
It was great.
It was great. It was amazing. I was like, thank you. And it would be good in live action with the two of them. They're opening up this world. Kingpin is also very much a Spider-Man villain.
Yes.
But the MCU is making it very clear that the main antagonist, the main rival for Kingpin is Echo. No, it's the main rival for Kingpin is Daredevil. So if you are in a situation where they're building up the Registration Act and you could do your part 5 where you could have Vincent D'Onofrio and Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox in Spider-Man 5, that would be really sweet. I mean, imagine if that's like the post-credit scene for what's going to come in the next in Spider-Man 4. So I think you should do your part 4, keep it very focused on the things that we're talking about, and then part 5, do your Spider-Man and Daredevil movie. And the fact is, we're working with John Bernthal here. I'm like, oh shit, that'd be pretty cool. Like if you do get some Punisher in there, I don't know how that would work, but in the Spider-Man movie, because he's a very violent guy. However, that would be my personal wish. I'm not going to sell myself on any of these ideas because I got to go whatever they give us, but I think that would be the avenue to go.
I've thought about this myself, and I was like, how would they do Spider-Man and Daredevil and Kingpin and all have them interact? Because we know that for some ungodly reason, I know it's like legal crap and whatnot. Can we cuss on here, or should we not do that?
It depends.
Can I say the F word?
Once.
like a
This is a
PG-13
PG-13 podcast. Parental guidance.
Never know with YouTube these days. People think we're like just being hypersensitive, but I've shared it before on the community pages. We'll get completely demonetized for 1 second. So
that's insane.
You never know. Sometimes it's like, that's weird. We didn't get demonetized for Invincible, but we're fine now. Okay.
Just a public service announcement. We do not enjoy censoring movies.
No, we don't. We hate it. We don't enjoy doing it. What'd you want to say? What was the F-bomb for?
I'll save it. I was curious. It's a thought I had in the back of my head, but I don't know a world where that could be possible with Spider-Man even on the TV show, because live action Spider-Man can't exist within Marvel properties or Marvel live action properties. But obviously, someone like Daredevil Kingpin, in theory, could appear in a film. Now, I like it on the surface, but when I think about it deeper, I feel like that runs a risk of cheapening the experience of Daredevil by having it be like, okay, we're starting this story with the Registration Act and Kingpin on TV, but then we're going to transition to the movie, and you got to watch the Daredevil show to get the Spider-Man movie. Because I feel like that's kind of what people start to get tired of initially with stuff like the Marvels or stuff like Doctor Strange 2. And I would want them to craft a story that involves those characters that's specifically for the movie. But with the way the show is going, I don't know how that is possible.
Did I ever tell you how I would adapt Batman Year One?
No.
I would make it solely from Gordon's perspective. Because it's early years Gordon. And I would this would never ever happen. This is just my little semi-artsy take of a Batman adaptation. from Gordon's perspective, Batman would appear in it, but you never show a scene from Bruce Wayne or Batman's perspective. Ooh. So when Bruce Wayne's there, it's only from Gordon's perspective. Like the audience knows Bruce Wayne and Batman are the same, but we never break that perspective to show like a scene with Bruce Wayne, you know, when Gordon's not around, or Batman when Gordon's not around. Always see it from Gordon's perspective.
That's cool.
That's how I would do Daredevil in the Spider-Man movie. So you don't have to worry about any of that. Is you just have it, like, because he doesn't need to know that Matt Murdock and Daredevil are the same person. He doesn't need to know Matt Murdock. You could just have the Daredevil character be in there, right, and interact with him. Maybe even sometimes even interacts with Matt Murdock, but he never has to learn they're the same person.
Right, the conflicts don't have to interact. I think with that that's more so my worry with including someone like Fisk within a Spider-Man movie because of the whole stuff with the Mayor and Registration Act. I feel like that's something that should be resolved within the narrative of Daredevil. And I imagine if they were to put Wilson Fisk within a Spider-Man movie, that's something they would have to address within the film itself.
Well, I do think we have to get Wilson Fisk in Spider-Man, though, at some point.
I want it so bad.
Because he's Kingpin.
He's Kingpin.
Kingpin is more than just Daredevil's villain. How many seasons can we get of Matt being like, freaking Kingpin? So this runs a really big redundancy point at a certain spot when you're 4 seasons in, and 3 of those 4 seasons are Kingpin, you know.
I'm just thinking this on the spot. The only way I could think of that even being possible, right, is if for some reason the Wilson Fisk Registration Act thing becomes a bigger issue, right? It extends beyond just Daredevil's narrative. Maybe it extends into other Disney Plus ground level, street level shows. We do that, and then we do a film Defenders movie resolving that issue with these other street level heroes, including Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think there's avenues. I feel like I think it's a must. I'm just saying that with Kingpin, I would hate if he is just solely reserved for the TV side, and primarily just the Daredevil show.
Let's make Fisk president.
Yeah. Well, I think Kingpin is just such. I grew up mainly knowing him, and I think most people did, who just mainly consume media and not comics at the time. Kingpin is a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah, he's in the 90s show. Prominent part of that show.
It's the game too. Like it's the game. Yeah. The game kicked off with him in there
with the fight scene with him. Yeah,
yeah. So I do think it's a necessary thing. Into the Spider-Verse, Kingpin is the main villain in that.
True.
You know, so I think they are gonna rob themselves of something if you can't have Kingpin be a main villain in the Spider-Man world at some point.
Yeah, I'm just so curious about how they'd go about it, just with the nature of what's going on in the show right now. If they're able to find a way to resolve the stuff that's currently going on with Fisk, move on to a different villain, so that's Daredevil's primary focus, and then reintroduce him in a Spider-Man movie, I think that's something that feels more plausible to me. But if you're introducing him within the same conflict that seems like it'll be going on for at least another couple of seasons, I'm having a hard time imagining them having some sort of intersection within this Mayor Fisk Registration Act sort of plot. Would you want that to be something addressed in the film?
The Registration Act?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it has to have an effect. I feel like the Sokovia Accords didn't really have much of an effect outside of the one movie. When we were watching Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and they had this one, if you haven't seen it, shame on you guys, but in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, there's a cameo from a special character who is working with Thunderbolt Ross via the Sokovia Accords. And I was like, oh yeah, that's supposed to be a thing that occurred. And it's not really present in the movies.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really present for the main characters involved in Captain America's Civil War after Captain America. Just the whole movie of Civil War is about, like, do we or do we not abide by this? And that becomes the Civil War. The Registration Act is something that could have a massive, profound effect for a lot of the characters in New York City. So for the characters who are based in New York, Spider-Man is one. It's kind of weird if they don't address that, if they don't deal with it.
So how would you feel if we watched this season of Daredevil, right, addressing this, and then they resolve the Registration Act within the Spider-Man movie?
I don't think they have to resolve it, but it could be a part of the story.
Oh, you don't think he'd be the main antagonist?
I don't think it has to be the conclusion to the Registration Act.
Okay.
Yeah, but I feel like it could be part of the world.
Okay, I'm curious as to how they would do that, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm having a hard time seeing it, but if they're finding a way to make it work that's narratively satisfying and satisfying for Spider-Man as a character, I'm I think it could work.
Yeah.
Potentially.
I think what we just want is like a really good, compelling movie that is intense and fun at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah. Like what was it? We want
That's
the
focused.
emotion back. And that's what we want is the emotional grip. Like I think No Way Home really shifts into a high gear once the Spidey sense kicks in when he's in the room with the six.
Yeah.
You know, and then leading to that Aunt May scene. So yeah, I think that's a good one. What else is on here?